Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
Chris sent me a note about a story out of Kentucky. And there's a little place called Shively, Kentucky. Population about 15,000. It's outside of Louisville, and it's right across the river from Indiana. Okay, so Shively. What happened in Shively? Well, a Shively police officer faces multiple charges for speeding over 100 miles per hour with a 3-year-old in the car with him. And it gets a little worse than that, but this is one of those stories where you really wonder what some people are thinking. A Shively police officer was placed on paid administrative leave after someone reported he was driving his police cruiser too fast. So they did an investigation, and they've now charged him with, among other things, 20 counts of speeding. 20. They might say, but Steve, how do you get 20 counts out of this? Oh, I don't know if you're aware of this, and this is probably one of those best-kept secrets, but police cars actually have, dash cams and things in them that record where they're going and how fast they're getting there. And now, you'd think a police officer might know that, but you know something? They can be busy. Things like that can go by the wayside. According to court documents, the man's an officer with the Shively Police Department, and on Wednesday was charged with 20 counts of speeding 26 miles per hour or more over the speed limit. So they said we got him on 20 counts of this excessive speeding, as well as 8 counts of second-degree wanton endangerment, which has to do with the kid in the car, and 1 count of official misconduct. Authorities said the investigation into the man began after a citizen complained that they saw a Shively Police Department cruiser speeding for no apparent purpose. Because you might see a police car speeding and go, well, that police car is going to an emergency or something. But if you see one just go blowing by you and you somehow know that it didn't go anyplace important, it's just speeding to get through traffic or something, that might catch your attention. So police, to their credit, investigated and looked into whether or not this guy was doing anything inappropriate, and apparently they checked the various devices in his car. Police identified the man as the driver of the cruiser and reviewed in-car recordings. Oh, darn. According to documents filed with the court, the investigation determined that on at least 20 different occasions between October of last year and May of this year, inclusive, the man drove his vehicle at speeds of over 100 miles per hour. And it's not that he's doing that in a high-speed chase. They're saying he was doing it basically at his own leisure. On at least 7 of those instances, he's accused of activating his police lights to move other vehicles out of the way. And then, when he passed them, switching them off. Now, if you ever watch any of those channels I talked about before that show police chases and so on, you'll see the view that the camera gets, which is in the car. And many times the camera records right on camera, not just what's in front of the car, it'll say whether the lights are on, whether the brakes are being applied, and also the speed of the car. So it'll actually say 76 miles per hour, lights on, no brakes, that kind of thing. And so they basically said, let's just go back and check the cameras from this guy's car and see what they show. And so you really wonder, did this guy not realize that that device was in his car making a record of what he was doing? Or did he really just think, I'll never get caught, or no one will ever look? Or if I do get caught, well, I'm a police officer. I can speed. I can turn my lights on. It's part of the job. It's one of the perks, actually. Police said the man's 3-year-old was in the car on at least 8 occasions, driving over 100. He was cited by the Shively Police Department and is scheduled to appear in court next month. According to a statement from the Shively Police Department issued Wednesday, the officer was placed on administrative leave on May 31st, but that's paid administrative leave. All police equipment, including his police cruiser, was removed from his possession, the news release stated. The officer has been issued a criminal summons and will be required to appear in court. An internal investigation into departmental policy violations continues to be conducted. Due to statutory limitations, we are prohibited from commenting on the internal investigation. A man was hired by the Shively Police Department in February of 2022. The story will be updated. So that's another interesting fact. The man was hired in February of last year. And then in October of last year, when he would have been on the job 8-9 months maybe, he's involved in a string of incidents where he's in his vehicle driving at speeds of over 100 miles per hour, but 20 occasions where he's going 26 or more above for no apparent good reason. And so if you go to those high-speed chase YouTube channels, you'll see that they get involved in high-speed chases all the time. Or, a police officer sitting by the side of the road with a radar gun and measuring speeds of cars as they pass, and a car goes blowing by at 100 miles an hour. And the police car at the side of the road is stopped. So as that car goes by at 100 miles an hour, the police car has got to engage, get out in the road, and get up to speed and catch that car. And so that car doing 100 miles an hour is way down the road by the time this car just starts accelerating. So to catch that car, they may have to go above 100 miles an hour, especially if that car doesn't slow down when they see the lights, which they often don't. That is, they don't slow down. They see the lights, but they don't slow down. And so it's not just that he was speeding on the job, is speeding on the job for no good reason. And that's the bizarre part, because they said that there's 20 counts, 20 of 26 or more over. And it makes you wonder if there were others that were like 20 over, 15 over, 10 over. I've mentioned before that in my life, and I've been driving for more than a couple of years, I've been pulled over a couple times. And once was a police officer pulled me over for doing 3 over. He actually said, "You were doing 3 over. And I pulled you over for that. And I'm going to give you a ticket for that." And he gave me a ticket for that. And that's a nonsense ticket. But how many times was this guy speeding 3 over, 5 over, 10 over? And so I'm sure what they looked at and said, oh my gosh, if we wanted to, we could write this guy 1,000 tickets. But we'll just write him for the 20 that'll be the hardest to fight, because those are the ones where it was going 26 or over. And I'm curious about the situation in Kentucky, because this could also be a state violation or a local municipal violation. The question is 26 or more over, is that reckless driving? In some states, that is an automatic thing. It might not be here, but I suspect that when you look at all of these counts added together, they do add up. So 20 counts of 26 or more over, 8 counts of second-degree wanton endangerment, and 1 count of official misconduct. So those last 9 counts, the endangerment and misconduct, are crimes. Those are crimes. And the speeding could be simply a civil infraction or a speeding ticket. But like I said, if it actually rises to the level of a reckless, that could be considered a misdemeanor. That's going to vary wildly from state to state. And I don't know what the story is in Kentucky. But it sounds to me like a variety of things could happen here. One is he could lose his license. Now, I'm simply pointing that out because so many of the people I meet who are going to court on traffic violations are concerned about losing their license. Because you lose your license, you lose your ability to drive legally. You might not be able to get to and from work, to and from pick your kids up at school, to and from the grocery store, things like that. Well, if you lose your driver's license as a police officer who is driving a police car, that probably will hinder his ability to do his job. Now, I do wonder how long he'll be a police officer in Shively, because he's on paid administrative leave. And I know a lot of people who find that inappropriate, but just to let you know the rationale behind it is that, of course, he is innocent until proven guilty. So right now, he's innocent. He goes to court, enters his pleas, and if he doesn't enter a guilty plea, he is still innocent. He would only be guilty if found guilty or he pleads guilty. So until that time, like the rest of us, he's innocent. So I understand the paid administrative leave part of this. However, when it all resolves someplace down the road, is there any chance that if he's found guilty on any of this or responsible on the driving tickets, is there any chance that he can keep his job? That's the real question. And that I don't know. I've heard of people who've gotten to keep their jobs after doing things much, much worse than this. And I've also seen people who lost them for less. The man was only with the police department, as noted, 8 or 9 months. So it could be that they don't have a lot of emotional investment in the guy. They might go, well, we didn't exactly spend a ton of time training him or anything, so we can let him go and it won't hurt us that much. The bigger question, of course, as many people have already noted in the comments, and I'm a mind reader and a predictor of the future, so I can tell you this. Many people have already said, but Steve, he'll just show up 2 towns over as a police officer as soon as this is resolved. And that very well could be true, except for that pesky little thing with the driver's license. And that's the question. So if he was found guilty or pled guilty to a bunch of counts of speeding of 26 miles per hour or more over, the question is how many points does he get for that? And how many points does it take to lose your license in Kentucky? And can you get your similar job at a different department without a driver's license? I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me, but it might be a little while before the guy can drive legally if convicted on these charges. So Chris, thanks for sending it to me from WDRB.com. Shively police officer faces multiple charges for speeding over 100 miles per hour with his 3-year-old in the car. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. When using a campground, a tuba placed on your picnic table might keep the campsites on either side vacant.